Thank you all for sticking around. HighGold mining. We're focused on high-grade gold in North America. You know, we take the philosophy that premium assets, high-grade assets in premium jurisdictions ultimately command the highest premium in terms of valuation. We've generated some industry-leading drill intersections, which I'll walk you through. We're well-financed to execute on our game plan, and we've got a very solid shareholder base. That includes blue-chip North American institutions. It also includes a senior gold producer that controls about a 9.9% stake. That's Agnico Eagle. They invested in the project, or in the company, following about a 5 or 6 month review of our Johnson Tract project, which really, in our view, is the endorsement or validation that the project has the potential to become a senior producer scale asset. 20 million cash in the bank, good analyst coverage. Now, just focusing in where we are, Johnson Tract in Alaska is our flagship. We have, all told, about 880,000 ounces gold equivalent at about 10 grams per ton gold equivalent. That was generated in 2020. We'll be coming out with a new resource very soon. Key takeaway, though, on this map is that we're not remote. We're very accessible. We're just about 10 miles from tidewater, and that's important because this is a polymetallic project that would produce concentrates, and you pretty much can't be any closer to the Asia-Pacific smelting markets than where we are. Thunder, sirens, it's quite a dramatic presentation. Our other assets are in the Timmins camp. We've got a very large land holding there, anchored really on a former past producer, which also was very, very high grade. So to put that high grade into context, just shown some of our drill intersections, compared them to our peers. OPAC, Aussie group that compiles public disclosure of mining companies. We made number 3 on their list of top 10 drill intersections last year, with 6.5 meters of over 500 grams per ton gold, a couple thousand grams per ton silver, and some base metals. That was 4 kilometers away from our main deposit. It was our first drill test at any prospects outside of the main deposit. Our main deposit, we're generating 50, 70, 100 meters plus of better than 10 grams per ton gold, with some very significant base metal credits. So it truly is a pretty exceptional drill intersections generated from this project. Our plan here, you know, we think we have the makings of the ideal deposit. And what I mean when I say that is it has not just grade, but thickness. In the core of the deposit, we see 20, 30, 50 meters plus true width of those types of grades, and that generally translates to very attractive economics. It would be a small footprint underground type of mine. We're actually on native-owned lands, native corp-owned lands, which from an ESG standpoint and political social support standpoint is huge. The co-product metals are nice to have in this market. I think there's ever more interest and focus on domestic supply of strategic energy metals. Having copper and zinc in your project is a real advantage. So our real focus right now is building value with the drill bit. We've been doing just that. We've been steadily stepping out and expanding on our deposit, and we'll have a new resource update out in the coming weeks here. We're also very focused on making new discoveries, and that earlier intersection I described was from a new area. So we're executing on that, and as we advance, you know, we're sort of transitioning into that early developer status. So doing metallurgy, updated resources, and working towards all the things you need to know to support an economic study. From a minability standpoint, the project is very well kind of, I guess, designed in that you can actually access the ore deposit with lateral development by putting it at it in the side of the hill. So it's pretty low upfront capital to access it. You get into the thickest, juiciest part first, and you have gravity assist mining as you mine your way up. We're expanding the deposit down, so ultimately you'd mine down as well. Here's a long section. The resource that I spoke to is sort of in the more solid color there with the dashed outline. We've done 27,000 meters of drilling since then. That's been step outs, basically along strike and down plunge. So we're growing it nicely. I mean, we're not hitting quite the same monster intersections we were in the core of the deposit, but still very good grades and widths as we expand down plunge and to depth. So it's growing nicely. Looking forward to having that resource out very soon. Speaking to sort of the other opportunities, when we acquired the asset, one of the things we liked most of all was, well, not just the deposit itself, but was the clear potential to find other zones or deposits on the property. There was multiple prospects. You fly the length of it. You see big alterations, Gossan zones. So last year was our first attempt at drilling anything outside of the main area, and we were obviously very pleased with the half-kilo gold over 6 meters. We've got a pretty good handle geologically on what's going on here, or starting to. We've got a good model from the main deposit. We're able to use that to extrapolate and really enhance our exploration efforts elsewhere on the property. We've yet to drill the Milkbone prospect. It's a kilometer away through the mountain, but there's, I guess, to make a long story short, there's a stratigraphic control to this mineralization. And that same horizon where we're hitting this really high grade at the DC prospect pops out the mountain on the other side, and we've got very high grade soil and boulder samples up to 8 grams in soils, 180 grams in boulders. Don't see the outcrop there, so we think there's likely another bedrock source nearby. And if everything goes right, the two will be connected through the mountain. So going to be hitting this hard this summer. So in addition to Johnson, which it really is our flagship, we've got a really nice portfolio in the Timmins camp. So this is Canada's top producing gold jurisdiction. It's probably the most mature gold jurisdiction as well. So very difficult place to get a meaningful sized land position. And we are one of the bigger players in that camp in terms of size of property package. And there's sort of a unifying theme to a lot of our properties that it's grossly underexplored for various different reasons. With the time I have right now, I'm going to focus on the Munro Creases area, which is on the east end of the camp. So that's about 100 plus kilometers east-west here for reference, with the big ore-bearing structures there highlighted in the black lines. So around Creases, we had access to what was in private hands for a long time, a former past producer called the Crease Mine. Produced, those familiar with Australia, Beta Hunt, RNCs type spectacular high grade. It had that type of gold. A lot of the production wasn't reported, and it was in the percents gold. The stuff that went through the mill was the low grade at 95 grams a ton. It shut down in the 30s. The big challenge there, however, was the land around it was a patchwork of different owners, small little parcels. So we spent the better part of the last 2-3 years consolidating that. We've done 14 separate deals to put together what we have now, which is 50 square kilometers. What's happened in the meantime is our neighbors have really shone the spotlight on this part of the belt. On the far right side is Mandetta's land position between the Garrison and Golden Highway projects. They now have 12 million ounces. Hard to ignore that kind of an endowment in a solid mining jurisdiction like Timmins. It's really come out of the gates in a big way, that project, and it's grown rapidly. Closer to us is Fen Gib. It's 2 million ounces. Will probably be 3 before the year's out. It's about 1,500 meters along strike. This is all to just set the stage to say this is good geological real estate that's grossly underexplored. At its center is an incredibly high-grade past producer, small scale. We're now getting out to explore that. We're focused on the high grade. We are hitting high grade, but in addition to that, there is bulk tonnage. We drilled for the first time on the property, true bulk tonnage type gold. A little lower grade, a half gram over 136 meters, so it doesn't really stick with our theme of high grade gold, but we're pretty happy with it. It comes to surface. We only have 2. We've got 7 holes into it. We've released the first 2 here. It's an exciting start to demonstrate we have that opportunity as well, and a really nice 1-2 punch, I think, for the company. Near-term catalysts, we've got some metallurgy coming out to demonstrate the positive, recoveries we'll see from Johnson Tract in Alaska. We'll have a resource estimate out. Those are both in the coming weeks here. We have more assays pending from Ontario, and we're kicking off a drill season here in the coming weeks. We'll open up camp mid-June and should have the drills turning before the end of June, with a focus on continuing to expand the deposit and really seeing what that new DC discovery and the other prospects are made of. Lots of money in the treasury to make it happen. So thank you.